Penina, welcome to the program. Welcome to Africa Live. Thanks for speaking with us. Penina, the voting kicked off early today. What is the mood where you are, and what has been the turnout so far?
Well, Richard, voting started at 6 a.m. this morning. It started very early because, as you know, temperatures here can really get hot, up to maybe 44 degrees, 45 degrees by noon. And so the polling stations opened at 6. There was quite a good turnout in some parts of N'Djamena. We were going around just to monitor how it looks like. And there were places where we could find long queues, but there were other places where it didn't look like they were very busy. Now, you have to understand this is a very diverse place in terms of just the context with which they're voting. It's not every polling station is set up like where we are, where there's a classroom. Some of those that we've been seeing here in the capital are set up under a tree. And so in times such as this, it's very difficult to find queues there because of just how hot it is. And our polling stations will stay open throughout the day until 5. The president did vote this morning at 7 in the morning. Just maybe about 2 minutes to 7 is when he arrived at his polling station. He gave us a short speech to the media, just exuding confidence and saying that he's happy with how the process has been. We also have spoken to his main challenger, Suksay Masra, who also says that he's very confident with the mechanisms they put in place ahead of this exercise today. And he said that previously there would be no electricity, for example, no internet connection, and that those things today are available just to make sure the process goes on seamlessly. So two candidates there, the main opponents, just exuding confidence in this process. The voters as well, just saying they've come out. We spoke to a few of them. Some of them are first-timers, and they said that they're pretty happy they can be able to participate in this significant process, Richard.
Penina, what would you say are the key issues that will shape today's vote? And if you can, talk to us about the dynamics around this particular election, including the main candidates.
Well, Richard, this election, really for me, I think I've been calling it the election of basic survival for Chadians, because when we speak to them, at least for the time that we've been here, what we are hearing is very key, significant issues to their day-to-day survival. They're talking about they have no running water, they have no electricity, they can't afford to have 3 meals per day, they don't have any money, they don't have roads, and they said we have the military, we have the police, but still there's a lot of insecurity in the country. So it's really the basic needs for the voters that really are instrumental in this election. When it comes to the dynamics of it, really 10 presidential candidates with just 1 female, but those seen as the front runners are just 2. The interim president, Mahamat Idris Deby, and Suksay Masra. Now, Suksay was the prime minister up until now in this election, and for him, it's been a grassroots campaign. He's been going around the country trying to connect with the very local citizens, saying that he will guarantee them those needs that I mentioned earlier. For the president, he's been riding really on the platform of securing the country. He says that he's brought stability to the country. He's transitioned the country from military rule into civilian rule. It was under his stewardship that Chad got a new constitution that is now allowing this election to happen. So really, those are the dynamics around this election. Those are the 2 main presidential candidates that everybody is focusing on, Richard.
All right, important point that you've brought to our attention there, Penina. And finally, one last question before we let you go. Penina, how significant is it that this vote will be the first in the West and Central Africa junta-ruled countries?
It is very significant, and not just for Chadians, but really for the region, for the West as well. You have to know that Chad is the only remaining ally of the West. If you look at what's happened in this region, in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Mali, they've kicked out the French troops, for example. Niger, just the other day before the Chad election began, we got news that they had kicked out the American military force that was there, and we understand that the forces that were kicked out of Niger are now here in Chad. And so Chad really is seen as a significant pillar when it comes to the fight against Islamist jihadism in this part of Africa. And this is the only remaining ally, so to speak, of the Western countries. But also when it comes to the continent itself, and especially the Sahel belt, this election is being viewed with a lot of interest by the players in this region, because they're calling it a blueprint for other junta-led countries in this region, that perhaps they might just model what is happening here in Chad and be able to transition their respective countries into civilian rule.